Hey there, how we doing today? Welcome to another episode of How To's with Nate. Today we replace an electrical outlet. So this one here, as you can see, it's broken there on the bottom and it's just loose. So I'm gonna go ahead and change that out. I've got my new outlet and I've got the tools that I'm going to be needing. A screwdriver, needle nose pliers, some wire strippers, and you can actually use those in place of the needle nose pliers if you have a good pair. And I always like to have protective gloves. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch off my power and I'll show you what to do next. So for any of those that are new to this process, you come to your breaker box and then you could see that I had that electrical tester in there. I already figured out that one is the one that I need to switch off, which is unfortunately my lights as well. But now you can see that the power is off, and I'm gonna go ahead and take that apart. Okay, on to the next step here. You can see that I've removed my cover, set that down. I've taken that screw out of the top and that screw out of the bottom, which means I can just go ahead and slide this out. This one's a bit more difficult, and we are dealing with a lot of wires here. So my guess is this is somewhere in the middle of the process, because these obviously go to the next outlet in the wall, things like that. These look like they are connected together, so what I'm going to do is remove these screws, remove the ground wire, and also do the same thing on this side. Rather than cutting them, probably going to keep them as they are in this example, because otherwise we'd have to hook two wires into that same one there. Okay, as we continue looking at this here, you can see that this bottom wire is separated by itself. It's only one wire there, and they have put the hook the correct way. You always want to wrap the ones on this side so that when you tighten the screw to the right, the hook tightens up even more. And then this one here obviously just needs to come off as well. And on this side I've loosened these. You might want to take a picture at the beginning so you remember where wires need to go. Notable to point out that the silver screws on this side are going to have your white wire, your neutral wires. The green wire will always, you'll find a spot on these for ground wire. And then your hot wires will go with the gold screws on this side. All right, on to our next step. You can see that I've got my wires disconnected here. This is the bottom, this is the top, and then it's opposite on this side. I'm gonna go ahead and keep this one the same and reattach this. And then this one I'll probably clip. Let's go ahead and do that now. Reason being is I wanna show you how to do that. When I was doing this, I always wish someone would have shown me. So you've got scissors on the end of your wire strippers here, which I never actually knew. So that's great, you can cut that off. And then you want to find the size of wire, which it's probably going to be this one, but I'm going to try the biggest one for now. And then you go back and forth, and it's easier with two hands, but then you pull your wire off in order to strip it. So let me show you that point. Okay, you can see here that I've stripped that wire. So this is where the needle nose pliers come in. You're probably going to need those. And then, since this is on the right side of the outlet and we are turning to the right with our screwdriver, we want to make a hook that goes this direction. You just grab that. It's best if you practice this, you can figure it out after time. But bend that in the shape of a hook, and that is ready to connect. Probably do that with some of my others as well. Maybe just straighten this one out as well as this one here. Okay, now you can see that the ground wire has been attached, and it's been attached the correct way, where there is a loop to the right, so that when I tighten that screw, it tightens it right up against it. And then I've connected that wire there. I had to use needle nose pliers to crimp it a little bit more because that circle was really big. So you may have to do that. And then that top hook is connected as well. You want to make sure those screws are really tight so that it doesn't come loose, because if the black and white wires touch, then you could get, well, it'll essentially trip your breaker. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on this side, and then I'll show you how to install it in the wall. Okay, I now have my black wires connected. That bottom one is the correct way. I noticed in my last clip that that bottom screw wasn't yet tightened up, so I went ahead and tightened it even more. Yeah, you can see there that it wraps all the way around. You just want to be really careful with those. Make sure you get them good and tight, and then even try tugging on them to make sure that they aren't loose. So this is something that I always wanted to know when I was learning how to do this type of thing, is where do all these wires go? Honestly, you can be pretty rough with these if you need to. As long as you have it tight to your fixture, you should be okay to move those around. So don't be too worried about those. You just need to get your screws lined up to where they need to be, and then a little at a time, get those into where they go. Okay, I'm not entirely up against the wall, but you can see that I have made a connection with that screw, as well as the bottom one. You have a little bit of leeway here to move it back and forth, so don't worry about that too much. But as you tighten it, these should touch the wall. If they don't, then you're gonna need additional pieces, and I forget what those are called, but they're little plastic pieces that go behind, essentially to keep a distance from the wall, so when you put your cover on there, it sits flush with the wall. Okay, I've tightened those up. You can see that it's nice up against the wall. It's centered where it needs to be. We can go ahead and put our cover back on there. Again, this is hard to do one-handed, but as you can see, it's gonna be nice up against the wall there. My flathead screwdriver and tighten that up. Hang on one second. Yeah, this is difficult to do one-handed. Anyways, there you have it. It is done. We can put this back in. And you can see that there's still no power to it, obviously, otherwise we would have been electrocuted. We'll walk back to the breaker box here and go ahead and flip our power back on. And there you have it, folks. All set. Thanks for joining me in this how-to video with Nate. If you like the material I put out here, hopefully it's helpful to you. That is the intent of my video. Please hit that subscribe button, follow along. I'll see you in a future video. Thanks.